Okay, it should come up now. Yes. Candice, please tell me if it's visible. The screen is visible, yeah. I think I can see that.
Definitely.
Okay, great. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. Once again, Leke Amoo. I am happy to be here to tell the story of Bloomberg Schools going Google. I would take that story in three categories, so I think it's important to do a bit of a history before we delve into the full part of the story. And so that's, first of all, before Google. So what was Bloomberg's educational system like before we went Google? And well, we ran pretty much, a paper-based system, the traditional system that many schools may be characterized for before the use of technology. And so, yeah, that meant heavy use of paper. That led to some assessments, especially assessments of students' learning, taking time before we do proper interpretation of their results, even communicating these results or these reports to parents, and then giving feedback to the children. So these definitely took a lot of time. It was not, honestly, it was not a pleasant experience at all. And we also know that many institutions began to go using technology, and we didn't want to be left behind in terms of the use of technology. And so we began to ask vital questions. What can we do differently? And also reduce several risks such as losing papers, even damages. And we know that Port Harcourt or River State generally is a riverine area, is prone to rainfall and floods and many things like that. And so how do we ensure that vital data or students' data or even vital files are not missing? So it became necessary for us to embark on a technology drive. So when we moved into technology, I must say, first of all, that we started without any form of strategy. We pretty much just took on anything available or anything within easy reach or anything recommended by any friend or teacher or any close person. So that we ended up with too many things. We ended up with some applications that had sync issues or compatibility issues. And so it would therefore be necessary for us to get a third-party application that would allow that seamless communication. So that obviously meant more cost. And then, of course, we began to deplete resources, or should I say resources were pulled in many directions. And by resources, I'm referring to human resources and capital resources. That meant that the small number of staff that we had were required to learn too many things or work with too many applications, and some even tilted more one than the other. So that meant some apps were not being used properly. And then we also found ourselves using some apps that hadn't the same function, different apps just having the same functions. And so we had repetitive functionality issues. You can pretty much say many things were not in order, even though on the outside it looked very good, but we internally knew that these things were not being done properly. So we began to ask questions: what more can we do? What can we do better? How can we improve on our use of technology? And many thanks to a friend in the house, that's Mr. K. Badikbe, who runs the MKB Consulting. And so he introduced us to Google. That's the Google for Education Workspace environment. And with Google, we began to take a breather. We breathed a sigh of relief. First of all, by using computer-based assessment. So all of our tests are computer-based. And by that, I'm not only referring to examinations, I'm even referring to click tests and the regular weekly assessments that we would conduct for children. And with these assessments, we get instant feedback, especially when they're multiple choice questions. We get instant feedback, and we're better able to perform formative assessments, giving students feedback regarding their work, and also teachers take those feedback to plan their lessons better. And so that therefore empowers educators to ensure that learning is student focused. And then from the management perspective, we get these data real time on a weekly basis, and we begin to make data-driven decisions about how students would learn better. And what you're seeing on the screen right now is actually a screenshot of one of the visualizations we generated from interpreting the data per year group. And so with that, we're able to make strategic decisions about enrollment. For instance, if we know that there is a gap in a year group, we know the kind of students we would like to enroll in the next year group. And also it helps us to make strategic decisions about employment as well. We know the kind of teacher, we know the pedigree, we know the kind of problem we want to solve, and so we know the kind of teacher to put in certain places, mainly because we began to interpret the data that we get from Google better. And then of course, it also helps us to set targets for each year group, set realistic targets for teachers. It's not just enough to say, everybody make sure that you move all your students who are performing below 50% to 70%. I mean, with this, we're able to study a trend to say, you know what, this is the ability level of the student, and so we can therefore raise the bar by 10% or 5% or 15%. So if we feel enough, we can raise it even beyond 20%, simply because we have data that helps us to study the trends. And then regarding communication and collaboration, Bloombreed Schools is one school on two campuses. And if there's any school leader here or any educator here who knows fully well that it can be a lot of problem when you're managing an institution that has multiple locations. Sometimes you would have parents make comparisons between these locations. We had that scenario, but with Google tools, we're better able to communicate and collaborate between our campuses, and with some of these tools, we have been able to create a standardized curriculum, so parents have confidence knowing full well that whatever is being taught in one location is exactly what their children will get in another location, because it is a standardized curriculum. There is no difference between what is taught in both schools, and so this is passed on from campus to campus. We do our meetings. We don't even have to be physically present in any location to do our meetings, to update the curriculum. And all of these things are done real time, thanks to the use of Google tools. And then, of course, there's a seamless transition, or was rather a seamless transition to online learning during the pandemic. Bloombreed Schools is very happy to say that we are one of the few schools in the South region. And by that, I'm referring to over 6 states in Nigeria, in that region, who can boldly say that learning did not stop for one day during the pandemic. It was a seamless flow into education. And so even during holidays, when we require students to do some things, they're able to do it from the comfort of their homes, because there's learning does not necessarily have to happen within the classroom. It creates an environment for us to learn beyond walls. That's not all. With the Google for Education environment, it helps to create an ecosystem. And by that, I'm referring to a hub of some sort where several applications, multiple applications run smoothly. So we're able to go into the web store to get applications to solve specific problems in our environment. So we're no longer pulled in multiple directions. We even have the freedom of choice. And we also have the opportunity to test without paying any money, without paying a dime for certain applications that we need to run in our environment. If we need premium versions, yes, we could decide to upgrade to a premium version. But many of these applications also help us to run smoothly on various devices. So there is no question of we need to update certain applications to run on a Windows software or to run on a mobile device compared to running on a Chromebook. The benefit of using Google is every application that runs in the Google for Education Workspace environment runs smoothly without the need to change anything or tweak anything or install some APK version or some Windows version and things like that. So it therefore makes it easy. That also helps me, for instance, who I move around a lot. I move between campuses. I can be on the road and there's something important for me to do while I'm on the road. I pull out my phone. I'm able to work easily remotely from anywhere. So there's no need for me to open my laptop. And many of us who know how Nigerian roads can be, it's probably not a safe thing to open your laptop while you're on the road. But with my phone, it's very easy for me to communicate or to do some things that need to be done. And then meanwhile, every student in our school is equipped with a Chromebook, and that I believe is one thing Google has gotten right. That's creating a device that it's specific for learning purposes. I know, yeah, there are Chromebooks for professional purposes, but Chromebooks developed mainly for educational purposes are the devices that we use in Bloombreed schools. So that also helps us to manage what students do with their devices. And so there is no headache regarding, protection of students' rights or protection of what students have access to. With the Chromebook, it already empowers the school to determine what students would do with those devices and helping them to focus without any form of distraction. And of course, we know that when you put the gadgets in the hand of children or in the hands of adolescents, they begin to explore. While it's good for them to explore, it is also important for us to allow them to explore within certain boundaries so that the essence for education is not entirely defeated. And thanks to Google, with the use of Chromebooks, we're able to achieve that. Also, with Google, we therefore have a professional development platform that encourages all our teachers to take certain courses that are, should I say, in levels. And so right now, over 80% of our teachers in Bloombreed schools are Google certified educators level 1. Now, with that, we're able to set a target to say we need to move on to level 2. And already we have about 5% of our teachers who on their own moved on with that, and now they are on level 2. We even have about 3 teachers. Yes, we have 3 teachers currently who are Google certified trainers, and you can call that level 3 in Nigeria. I mean, these are teachers who on their own decided, let's go for this, because Google created that platform, that environment. And of course, they're implementing these things in our environment. That's fantastic. So with the Google certified, with its Google certifications, our teachers are confident with the use of technology, and any new teacher who comes into our school knows fully well that this is the system in Bloombreed schools. So they are naturally, they have a seamless flow, a seamless transition into the use of technology, thanks to Google. And finally, I'd like to say that Google has something fantastic called the Transformation Report that helps us to create a change management process and set a strategy of a 3-year plan, 4-year plan, 5-year plan for our school regarding the use of technology and regarding key aspects of the school. Children's learning, the curriculum development, teachers' professional development, the vision of the school, the culture of the school, how exactly all these things can be attained over 4 or 5 years. And then we have frequent feedbacks twice a year. So this is the month of May. There's already a feedback, a survey generated by sent to our teachers, and we use that survey to determine our next 6-month plan for the school. Now that honestly is phenomenal. If you're already using Google and you don't know about the transformation report, I think you should read up about it. It's fantastic. It helps us to make strategic decisions about our school. I mean, after having said all these, what more is there to say? I mean, what more can Google possibly offer? But honestly, there is a lot more, and I was very surprised to even realize that there is more. One of the first things that Google did to help me, for instance, realize that there is more, and I'd say that it's actually a very nice strategy by Google, because what they did was, with the fundamentals plan, which is the free plan many schools are on, initially they allowed schools to be able to record meetings. Record meetings on the fundamental plan. But December last year, that particular permission was lifted, and it was moved on to one of the upgraded plans. I didn't know about it. We just realized we could no longer record meetings. And so I quickly asked our partner, our Google partner, Mr. K, MKB Consulting, what's going on? What's happening? Why has this permission been removed? And then he communicated to us that, okay, this has been moved to one of the upgraded plans. To be honest, I would not have known about the upgraded plans. I thought that with the fundamentals, we had all that we needed. So I would not have known about this if not for that strategic move. It was a very painful strategy though, but it's good, it's fine. And so we began to find out, okay, so what plan can we get on? And then he mentioned the teaching and learning plan. So I read up about the teaching and learning plan and I was like, oh, this is phenomenal, communicated it quickly to the instructors, and we began to explore the teaching and learning until Mr. K communicated again that hey, guess what? There's something even bigger than the teaching and learning plan. It's called Education Plus. And I thought to myself, if there is another plan, maybe I should read up about all the plans available. And then I realized that there are actually 3 paid plans by Google. There's the standard plan, there is the teaching and learning, and then the Education Plus. So the Education Plus apparently is the biggest. It combines every other plan before it, and it's just ideal for a learning environment. And so it was a no-brainer. I simply said, you know what, we need to get on the Education Plus plan. Let's find out about it. What would it cost us, and what can we do to get on it? And he mentioned that there is a 60-day trial that we could explore. And so we're like, okay, great. Let's explore the 60-day trial. So presently, we are on the 60-day trial for Education Plus. It is only available to a limited number of people in one's working environment. And so we made it available to some teachers in the environment, and we created a strategy. Because even though it is important, or rather it is a good idea to quickly move on to the education plan, I believe it is not an emotional decision. It is supposed to be a strategic decision. I decided already we need to make a data-driven decision and not an emotional decision in this regard. And so we decided, let us ask some very key questions. The first question is, why do we need this? The second question is, what problem will the Education Plus upgrade solve? And then the third question is, how exactly does it affect our future? How does it tie into our next few-year plan? Because indeed, this is, once again, another change management process. And so what we did was to set up 2 teams. We have a team of the security experts that I and very few other people who have access to the admin console to say, let us set up this environment, make it safer, let us look into the security features and many other things that are tech-based. While we have the instructor teams, these are the teachers in classrooms, and then the curriculum heads, and of course the vice principals in charge of academics. Let us look into the teaching and learning aspect of this particular plan. And so we began to explore it, and honestly, it has been mind-blowing. I would only share a few features that we have discovered that are awesome, and I believe that any school that knows its onions need to activate these on their platforms. First of all is the security health feature. Now, the security health feature allows us to have an overview of the security posture of our environment vis-a-vis recommended settings, or should I say security best practices for an educational institution. And so with that, we're able to take proactive steps to ensure that our environment is safe before there is a security breach, or if at all there's an attempt on a security breach, was safe. And to be candid, this for me was something we realized rather too late, because just December last year we had a major security breach that cost us a lot, and then it led to 3 months of hard work. There were several weeks that I could not sleep because I was trying to, we had a lot of work to do during that period. If we had access to this feature before then we would have taken proactive steps to prevent that breach from happening. And then, of course, there's the mobile management. The mobile management feature is one awesome feature that allows us to protect our mobile data, ensuring that, am I still audible, please? I'd like to confirm then. Candice, you can hear me. Okay, thank you.
Definitely, loud and clear.
Right, thank you. Okay, so the mobile management allows us to protect our environment even further. We all know that our workers or teachers or people that work in our environments would use their mobile phones many times to communicate. Like I mentioned earlier, I would use my mobile phone even while I'm on the road. And we know that these mobile devices can get missing easily or stolen, whatever it is. And so it is important for us to set up an environment that can protect the data of the school on everybody's mobile devices. And that's exactly what the mobile management does. It even gives the school or the company the power to determine how long a particular phone should stay out of sync with the environment. So if, for instance, my device does not sync with the environment within a stipulated period, whether 30 days, and if it is a high security device, you can say within 24 hours, then the data on that phone, the school's data on that phone should be wiped off. So it wipes it off. You can even set on your environment certain mobile devices that should not have access to your environment, or you give permission to some, you also exclude permission from some. I think that puts power in the hands of the school and also further protects the school environment. The third feature that I would like to talk about is the cloud search from time to time, you can be working on a particular document and, some idea pops in your mind and you're wondering, where exactly do I have this particular keyword? All you have to do is go on cloud search, you type that keyword, and it brings up several Google platforms in your environment that you have that keyword that keyword appears. And so you go there and then you click. So you don't even have to move between multiple Google environments. You can stay on one particular environment and you have access to all your data in one particular place. Although there is already a protection which says it is only those data that you have been given permission to that you can access. And that, I believe, is another very good smart security feature. The third thing which very much excites teachers is your originality report. And that says that teachers would give students some work. From time to time, we give them work projects to carry out. Many students will go online and just copy anything and submit. But with the originality report sheet, you can tell whether or not what they have done is original. And even the students can check for themselves the extent to which their work is original before they turn it in. And that is fantastic. And finally, I think it's a no-brainer. There are several Google Meet features, such as the Q&A. With the Q&A, we were able to have a saner parents forum because parents were able to follow the exact questions that were asked. They know with the Q&A, they could easily tell the questions that were asked, so there was no need repeating certain questions. They could already tell the questions that were answered as well. And this is powerful. It's not available in the fundamentals plan, but it's available in the teaching and learning and, of course, the Education Plus. Of course, the recordings feature, I'm sure this meeting is recorded, so we can, of course, record our meetings as well. The noise cancellation is, honestly, I would say, is one of my favorites feature for the Google Meet. I am in my room right now in my office and the class is beyond me. And students from time to time would move their furniture, or when they're excited, during break time, they would make sounds. While I'm in a meeting, that can be very distracting, but with the noise cancellation feature, I don't have to worry about that. I'm certain that my audience can hear my voice only, and every other background noise is filtered away, and that is fantastic. And then finally, host controls. We have, with this plan, we have the permission to control our meetings better. We no longer have to beg people, please mute your microphones. We can mute the microphones directly without having any interruptions or distractions in our meeting. So these and many more are the awesome features that are available on the Google Education Plus platform. I think with this, you must be convinced that this is certainly something to explore. Google is the way to go. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Leke. I feel like we should all give you a round of applause. So this is just, yay. So thank you so much for sharing. And I'll share over you now. There we go. So I just want to say that the things that I heard Leke mention, which were imperative to schools, you'll notice that he mentioned